Hi, this is Eric from Longbox Review at longboxreview.wordpress.com. And this is The Gutters, wherein I talk about whatever is kind of on my mind as I drive to work, which explains the background noise you'll probably hear as I speak. So, God, am I lazy or what? Let me explain. I don't know if you can hear this in my voice, but it's a little raspy, a little, I don't know, nasally, because more than normal. Because I've had a cold for like 2 or 3 weeks. I actually got a cold, and I just missed my turnoff because I'm talking. Anyway, I got a cold right before I went to Emerald City Comic Con at the end of March 2014. And I started feeling better. Wow, this person's not going to let me over. I started feeling better as we were coming home, and I had probably 2 days where I was feeling pretty good. And then I started feeling sick again. Let's see, the Friday after Comic-Con, which also happens to be the day that I had to fire someone at my job. So, good day for that. So anyway, the rest of the weekend I'm not feeling so great, and here I am almost another week later, and I'm still feeling like crap. So anyway, there is a point to this. So before I went to the Comic-Con, I had several episodes of the Long Box Review podcast in the can, as they say, because I was fortunate enough to talk with Peter Rios on some topics, which was revival and just catching up with Peter, and then a couple episodes that I split up because it was so long, about Rachel Rising. So I got 3 episodes out of that. And then I recorded an episode, the one I last released, which was the must-read TV episode, and I'd recorded that 2 months ago, or 2 months before I talked to Peter. And so that was just sitting there waiting to be released, which was kind of nice. I really like this idea of recording some things and just having them ready to go for things like this, and I'll explain in a second. In the meantime, though, in between the revival, I said revival, that's not right. Lazarus, we talked about Lazarus, Peter and I. I talked with Travis about revival. Anyway, so in between the Lazarus episode and the Rachel Rising episodes, Travis and I did our best of 2013 live show, which I then released later in the podcast feed. So I really only, in the last, say, month, I've only recorded, in the last month I haven't recorded anything except for a few of these Gutters episodes. And it's been kind of nice. And also, except for like 2 days ago, I was sitting at home, I was reading some trades, because I've read all my monthly comics, caught up with that until I get my next shipment from DCBS. Anyway, so I was reading those, and it just kind of struck me that I was feeling antsy about something, and I realized it was because I hadn't recorded a new episode yet. So even though I've released, 3, 4, 5 episodes in the last few months, pretty much on schedule, I try to do an episode every 2 weeks. I'm not always successful at that, but I was hitting a pretty good schedule there. And then, like I said, the con was coming up, so I knew I wouldn't be able to record for a bit. And then I got sick. Then I got sick again. And then, like I said, the thing that happened at work recently, and I just really didn't feel like doing much of anything. It was kind of nice just to relax and, read comics. I haven't really been paying much attention to the news, or even just kind of pushing stuff out that I find on Tumblr or on Twitter or other places. I've just been kind of low key lately, and like I said, it was really nice for a while until, like I said, the other day, I was thinking about what I should be doing next, and I was feeling a little antsy. Then I got anxious about it, and realized I need to get something out there. But then I started thinking about that. Why? Why do I need to do that? Why do I feel the need or the compulsion to do that? One, the obvious answer is that I want to do it, and I do. But it's not like, everyone's just anxiously awaiting or even demanding that I put out an episode. So why was I feeling anxious about it? One of the things that you learn pretty early on when you're podcasting is that you need to come out with a show regularly to help build your audience. So if they know that you're going to come out with an episode every week or every 2 weeks or even every month, that they could get it at that time. And I've heard many podcasters talk about this, and so I've tried to stick to that. I was doing once a month there for a while, or trying to anyway. And then I tried to do once a week, and realized no, that's way too much work. I'm basically a one-man operation. I have guest hosts come on, Travis, more so than many others. But that's about it. All of the production, all of the research and topics and all that stuff, that's pretty much me doing all that stuff. So once a week was just way too much of my time, because whenever I do an episode, I will record it, and then I will go back and I will re-listen to it and edit it, cut out the ums and the pauses and all that kind of stuff, and try and make the sound better. And so I end up listening to. So I record it, however long that takes, and then I listen to it again, doing the editing. It's basically doing that same amount of time that I recorded, so it's double the effort for me to get this out. So I just don't have enough time. Anyway, that's the lazy part, I guess. I'm not industrious enough to spend that time. I have a family too, so I don't want to take away too much time from them either. So if I were single, I'm going to go on one of my tangents. I do this all the time. I apologize. If I were single, I would probably be doing this stuff weekly because I wouldn't have other obligations. And not that it's an obligation. It's I love my family and I love spending time with them. So you know what I mean. So anyway, I just started wondering, does it matter that I don't come out with an episode every 2 weeks? Do you care, you as the listeners? Or do you just listen to things as they pop up in your podcatcher? Oh, Eric has a new episode. I'll listen to that. Or are you are you like me, where I have a good almost 24 podcasts I listen to. I don't listen to them. I don't listen to every episode that they put out. I'll take a look at what the topic is about, or who they're interviewing, or something along those lines, and then I decide if I want to listen to it. So I don't really pay attention to their release schedule. I know some of them do it weekly. Like I can count on Fight for Comics to come out with an episode every Wednesday. I think it is. Anyway, it's every week. But I don't open up Pocket Casts and on Wednesday and go, oh, I'm going to get the new Fight for Comics episode. I just see it in there and I download it if I want to listen to it, which I do recommend because that's a good podcast. They're funny. Every time I listen to that podcast, I get a smile on my face or I'm laughing about something. So you should try them out. And so that's how I consume my podcasts, whether they be comic book related or not. So I guess, like I said, I'm curious what you do as a listener of podcasts, as a consumer of podcasts. Do you care about the regular schedule, or do you just care about the people behind the show, or people doing the show and the topics that they talk about, and just go from there? And this is not a means for me. This is not me giving an excuse to myself not to podcast regularly, because I still want to do that. But I don't like beating myself up about it. Because this is just something I love to do. I don't want to feel bad about it. It's like sometimes I feel the pressure to read all these comics so that I can talk about them on the show, and then I have the fear that there's a risk that it becomes more like a job instead of a hobby, instead of something fun, and then I don't do it anymore. And I definitely don't want that to happen. I know, these are first world problems, right? Whiny bastard, you. Okay. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And if you would like, you can send me email to let me know at longboxreview@gmail.com. You can always leave me a voice message. I got a link on the website, longboxreview.wordpress.com, for SpeakPipe. There's also a voicemail number if you wanted to leave one. And on both of those, I can then broadcast your answers on the show. That'd be awesome. I've only got to do that once, so I'd love to get some audio feedback from people. Anyway, or I'll read them on the air. Your responses on the air. That's great too. Anyway, feedback is great. So that's what I'm saying. Please send me feedback. All right, that's it. I'm out of here. Thanks a lot, everybody. Bye.